What happens when a nation decides it no longer needs one of the most hardworking, loyal, and skilled communities of workers on Earth? What happens when governments push Filipinos out of their borders, believing they can easily replace them, only to watch entire industries collapse? This is not speculation. It's a reality that has played out again and again, from the oil-rich kingdoms of the Middle East to the high-tech factories of Asia, from the skyscrapers of Dubai to the farmlands of New Zealand. For decades, Filipino workers have quietly held the world together. They have cared for the elderly, raised children, healed the sick, built cities, served travelers, and harvested food. But when they are forced out, countries learn the hard way. Filipinos are not just workers. They are the lifeline of entire economies. Today, we uncover the stories of 15 nations that made the mistake of sending Filipinos away, and the shocking downfall that followed until they were forced to beg for their return. Stay with me till the end, because this global lesson reveals a powerful truth: the Filipino worker is irreplaceable. Saudi Arabia. Healthcare on the brink. For decades, Saudi Arabia relied on Filipino nurses and caregivers to power its hospitals. Their discipline and compassion kept the system stable. But in 2011, stricter labor rules pushed thousands out. At first, officials believed Saudi citizens could fill the gap. But the reality was devastating. Wards were understaffed, patients waited for hours, families began complaining about the poor quality of care. Entire hospitals struggled to function. Within months, Saudi Arabia realized the truth: their modern healthcare system could not survive without Filipinos. And so, they reversed course. Today, Filipino nurses once again form the backbone of Saudi hospitals, respected, valued, and indispensable. Kuwait. The ban that backfired in 2018, after reports of abuse against Filipino workers, tensions boiled over. The Philippines banned new deployments, and Kuwait banned arrivals. For a moment, Kuwait believed it could live without them. But within weeks, families struggled to find trustworthy helpers. Hospitals complained of shortages, and engineering projects slowed down. The replacements lacked the skill, dedication, and loyalty of Filipino workers. By 2020, the pressure was too much. Families and businesses demanded action. Kuwait signed a fresh labor deal with the Philippines, quietly admitting what everyone already knew: their society relied deeply on Filipinos. Qatar. A luxury image in ruins. Qatar's global reputation rests on luxury: 5-star hotels, airlines ranked among the best in the world, and a tourism industry built on flawless service. And at the heart of this image were Filipinos, powering hospitality, airlines, and restaurants. But in 2017, a regional diplomatic crisis forced many Filipinos out. What followed was nothing short of disastrous. Service slowed. Tourists noticed. Standards dropped. What was once world-class quickly became second-rate. By 2019, Qatar offered higher salaries and better benefits just to lure Filipinos back. Only then did the reputation of Doha's hotels and airlines begin to recover. The world had seen the difference, and so had Qatar. United Arab Emirates, skyscrapers without builders. Think of Dubai. Its glass towers, luxury malls, and breathtaking skyline. Behind that miracle of speed and ambition stood Filipino workers, engineers, builders, hotel staff, nurses. But in 2020, during the pandemic, thousands of Filipino permits were suspended. At first, leaders thought locals and other migrant workers could step in. Instead, construction sites went silent. Hotels were understaffed. Hospitals felt dangerous shortages. Tourism, one of the lifebloods of the UAE, began to fade. By 2022, the UAE reversed its policies. They offered better packages to Filipinos, admitting openly that without them, growth stalls. The country learned that its miracle could not continue without the Filipino workforce. Malaysia. Service industry collapsed. Malaysia once thrived on Filipino excellence in hotels, restaurants, and retail. In 2016, stricter labor laws pushed thousands out. For a while, the government thought others could replace them. But quickly, complaints poured in. Hotel ratings dropped. Restaurants couldn't meet demand. Tourists noticed the decline. The magic touch, the combination of professionalism and warmth Filipinos brought, was gone. By 2019, business leaders pressured the government to change course. Filipinos returned, and instantly the industry regained its life. Malaysia had learned its lesson. Japan and Italy abandoned elders. Two very different countries, one common mistake. Japan, with one of the oldest populations in the world, had long welcomed Filipino caregivers. But in 2010, strict language tests blocked many from coming. Families soon discovered the consequences. Nursing homes overcrowded, seniors left without proper care, desperate relatives unable to cope. Italy's story is almost identical. Immigration hurdles in 2011 drove Filipinos out. Families lost the caregivers they trusted most, nursing homes overflowed, and the elderly, who needed compassion most, suffered. By the mid-2010s, both nations had to ease restrictions. Filipinos returned, restoring dignity to elder care. Japan and Italy had learned the hard way. Without Filipino compassion, their elderly were left behind. Singapore and Hong Kong. When daily life stopped, Singapore is a city built on efficiency. Families rely on Filipino domestic helpers. Hospitals depend on Filipino nurses. But in 2020, when the pandemic shut borders, Filipinos couldn't return. Instantly, daily life was disrupted. Parents struggled to juggle work and children. Hospitals faced dangerous shortages. Singapore quickly realized its vulnerability and reversed its policies by late 2021. Hong Kong tried something similar earlier, in 2017. Officials encouraged households to hire other workers. But families quickly complained about dishonesty, poor training, and unreliability. By 2019, demand for Filipinos was so high that families were willing to pay more just to secure them. Canada and the United States. Healthcare in crisis across the Atlantic. Canada and the United States both faced the same nightmare. Canada, in the early 2000s, tightened immigration rules. Hospitals soon faced chronic shortages. Nurses were overworked. Patients waited dangerously long for treatment. By the mid-2010s, Canada created fast-track visas for Filipino nurses, admitting their healthcare system could not survive without them. The United States mirrored this story. In the early 2010s, work visas were slashed. Hospitals assumed American nurses could cover the gap. They couldn't. Burnout rose, patient care dropped, and the system buckled. By 2018, America reopened the doors, and today, Filipino nurses remain a backbone of U.S. healthcare. Spain, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, different lands, same mistake. Spain, with its historic ties to the Philippines, once had a thriving community of Filipino workers. But when visa rules tightened, service industries suffered until Spain quietly reopened its doors. Australia's restrictions in 2017 created shortages in nursing, hospitality, and construction. By 2020, it had to change its policies. New Zealand pushed Filipinos out of its farms in 2018. The result? Crops unharvested, dairy production slowed, exports declined. By 2021, they begged Filipinos back. South Korea's factories, auto, electronics, heavy industries, once depended on Filipino skill. Visa restrictions in the early 2010s slowed production, cut competitiveness, and hurt exports. By 2016, Filipinos were once again welcomed. The global lesson. From the deserts of Saudi Arabia to the skyscrapers of Dubai, from the fields of New Zealand to the hospitals of North America, one truth echoes across borders. Whenever countries tried to replace Filipinos, they failed. Whenever they welcomed them back, industries flourished again. Filipinos are not just workers. They are healers, builders, caregivers, teachers, and friends. They are the quiet force that keeps the wheels of the world turning. And that's why, when people ask, why are Filipinos so in demand everywhere? The answer is simple. Because the world has already tried to replace them. And the world has already failed. Right finger if you believe the Filipino spirit deserves global recognition. Hit that like button. Share this video so more people know the truth. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories the world's media rarely tells.